think I've known you for at least 10 years. I'm not quite sure. He is a well-traveled person. He loves sports. He loves books. He's also not just like a financial whiz who can answer great questions from all walks of life in a concise way. He is a person who is, I guess, kind of like the social party planner. He is always sending people out to do something that's kind of like good, clean fun. He's always the guy arranging, to see a basketball game. So he's like a financial whiz, and he's like a social whiz, and he's just a super generous person. And like I said, well-traveled, lots of wonderful life experience, and he will be open to questions later. This is Marcus.
Thank you, Tim, for the introduction. Tim gave me way too many compliments. I think it's way over the top, but anyways, I'll take it. I was going to give a little bit of background on myself, and then those of you, I see a few of you guys back here that heard me speak a couple weeks ago to Michael's other class. You know what you're going to be in store for in a little bit, so I'm doing it again, so if you know what that means. But anyways, my background, I grew up in Overland Park. I was born in Lee Summit, moved to Overland Park when I was 5. Went to public schools primarily, but then went to Holy Spirit towards the end of elementary school, and then went to Rockhurst High School. Don't hold that against me, I know I'm here at St. James. And then I went to Texas Christian University, majored in finance and accounting, was part of a startup out of college. We wrote the business plan my senior year of college, second semester, and I stayed on board as a consultant. And I worked in a lot of different capacities in the financial services industry for companies like Goldman Sachs. I work private equity, managing a large international bank's assets in Charlotte, North Carolina. Side note, if you ever consider moving anywhere outside Kansas City, college beyond Charlotte is amazing. We've got a lot of young professionals. They're the mountains that surround the city, and the beach is 3 hours away. So it is unbelievable. So that is the background. I've got a sister who's a doctor in psychology in LA. Who is 4 years younger than me, and a brother who's 10 years younger than me that works here in town and does logistics. And I reside in Overland Park now after a couple stints in Texas and in North Carolina. A little more on work background. I worked for a company here in town that did manufacturing. Who here knows, I'm trying to look for some plastic. This plastic, when it goes to be recycled, we would buy plastic and post-consumer and make it into furniture right here in Olathe. You think that's usually outsourced abroad, but they manufacture here in South Olathe. And they make furniture that's used all around North America, the company I worked at here in Kansas City a few years back. July 27, 2014, though, my dad and grandfather were in a tragic car wreck and both passed away. And the plan was always for me to take over my dad's company, just not under those kind of circumstances. So I had to go from hearing that dad's going to the operating room to an hour later finding out he's passed away to a few minutes later thinking I've got a company to run bright and early tomorrow. Talk about challenging. It's similar to probably some of the challenges you'll see in your life. So I started running my dad's company back then. I had worked for him for several years, so I had an idea of what it was about. And I'm running it to this day, and I partner with a childhood friend here. So I'm really excited about that, what the future holds. Speaking of investments, you're probably wondering, what do I know about it? I started reading books when I was 13, 14 years old. One of the first books I read was by Peter Lynch called One Up on Wall Street. Who here has heard of it? If you have, I will give you an entire bag of candy. Nobody's heard of it. That's all right. It came out a long time ago. Peter Lynch is part of Merrill Lynch, just one of the biggest investment firms in the country. So I've been studying and reading, learning from my dad and other people around me from a young age, and that's really helped in shaping me and getting me to where I'm at today. A little more business background. I also run a nonprofit, and I run a grief ministry for young people ages 18 through 40 through the Archdiocese that helps them cope with loss in life. So now that we've done my background, I was debating whether to push this off towards later. I think I'm going to go ahead and do it now. I do a trivia contest every time I guest speak, just sort of break it up. That way you don't have to hear me just go on and on up here. So I'm going to get past that trivia contest. How many students do we have?
Is it 38? I have 23. What do you have?
So everybody partner up with someone next to you. We'll come around and pass out the quiz. No phones. Wait, you guys already have a no phone policy. Sorry, somebody pulled out a phone last week at Shawnee Mission Northwest in the middle of the quiz and got caught, so I'm just used to people having phones on. No phones, you have 5 minutes, and they're a little tricky, but I put in some hints, and make sure to get to the bonus questions, because they're worth 2 points each. So Partner up with someone next to you. And we'll pass these out.
Is it easy?
What I should do?
Are you gonna cheat?
Why would I cheat?
Okay. Let's see.
Beijing Academy.
You two together?
Jake. We don't like him.
Oh, no teaming up.
No teaming up.
Outside of your two. Well, yeah, but outside of your two, don't talk to your own head.
Teams or no teams?
No, 2 to 2, but don't collaborate.
The outlier is wise.
Pairs, no pairs.
In my class or together? I don't know. Could it be Mr. Huffy? Uh-oh. That's exciting. I know number 10. Remember?
That's really
So I should definitely there's still no financial advice on and it's
Is Tucker City win Vegas ball 20? I know that's City. I'll run Jason Siddiqui's went to Shawnee Michigan. I don't know I don't know who Rodney Pete and Rod Rick are. They're both located in Oklahoma Park. Could it be Blue Valley? I'll put 72.
that's alright.
I'm gonna do biggest ball of 20. 7. I don't know what the other one is.
One company in sales, partner,
Could 6 be Apple and Microsoft? Or Google? I think it's Apple and Google. Like that.
If I change one, like, I don't know, like, Margaret, I signed it up.
And no, my parents graduated college. No,
I think number 5 was 84.
Go look it up, please.
Did I give 84? Oh, yeah.
What I'm saying is, like, what if I'm 50%?
It took 12 and 18 hours. What's 18 times 3?
Customer base is, if you're trying to take customers away from
1 minute, kids.
big in the game, you're generating new
1 minute left.
We're not paying.
But there's, and they can find where the scroll anyways.
Mr. Medita or Mr. Huffy for the last one?
Oh, I've got a friend.
Mr. Huffy for the last one. Because it says outlier age-wise.
Well, there's things like
Yeah. I think it's Mr. Huffy.
it's something where you will learn, like go work in bigger organizations. You gotta be darn
Mr. Huffy?
sure that you're.
What do you think? Do I do
Okay. Okay, everybody wrap up the last answer. Write a team name at the top. A team name, actually just your two names of your teammates. And we're going to switch it around so everybody grades. I'm curious if Mr. Webker and Mr. Consiglio know question number 1. Very curious. How many references to money are there in the Bible?